welcome back to another leafy day. Actually, it's leafy night now because the sun has set and it is almost time to put that snoozy crew to sleep. I just put in some fresh spray millet with some vitamins on it, and they're a little bit suspicious because it's slightly different. But it's been a while since I've done a leafy day, and it's just been because I've been like back and forth about what to share, what not to share, but I really watched some pretty inspirational vlogs today where people were just very frank with how they're feeling, frank with feeling overwhelmed. Like, there were some vlogs by like people who are moms and artists who are like, how do I mother, wife, and art all at once, and how do I balance it? And then there were other vlogs with people who are in very similar situations to me. Actually, Kaylee of the Little Dream is in a pretty similar situation where like she lives with her guy and she's really happy and she has her beloved pets, but there's also like an underlying chronic sense of illness that kind of creeps into your life, and that's in my life too. Just an underlying sense of like, if something's not quite right, that makes me very sick sometimes. So I've been really sick in April. In fact, you can actually see, I don't know if you can see my little spots. I've broken out into large spots everywhere because I was allergic to one of the iron supplements I was trying to take to get my iron levels up, because I'm very, very low on my iron and my B12. Long story short, lupus runs in my family, and recent research has really shown that lupus and celiac intolerance are kind of linked, and if you don't realize, like, if one can lead to the other. So if you eat a diet with like wheats and grains in it and trigger like your celiac, the celiac triggers the lupus, and lupus basically means your body tries to destroy itself. It turns on all of the immune cells and turns it around and just attacks your own body. And I don't have it diagnosed yet, but I'm at the age, I'm almost in my 30s now. I just turned 27, so I'm right at that cusp where a lot of people first become diagnosed. And because of this new research, and because I've just realized, oh, I can't tolerate wheat, like, I tried just experimenting with my diet, and I realized, oh yeah, I die if I eat like a bagel. I'm like, oh, I wake up in the middle of the night crying because it hurts so bad. So that's when you know you shouldn't be eating the wheat. And you know, you blame it on a million other things because wheat's been in everything I've ever eaten my whole life. Like I've said many times, growing up, often we relied on Panera bread to eat, to survive on. Donated Panera bread, and that's why I kind of always have a positive association with Panera, because they would donate like all of the bread, and if we were lucky there'd be like a box of pumpkin muffins. I think sometimes they would like sneak a box aside for us because my dad was so sweet, but they were really great with us. But it turns out I can't tolerate the bread. At least not the gluten bread. So April's been the month where like a lot of those revelations have happened, and I've gone on medicine and off medicine, and I'm basically trying to get my body where I don't get lupus. So it's like you're trying to stave off a chronic illness that really, I feel, destroyed is a really strong word. Hampered, I don't know how to explain it. It like clipped the wings. That's what I would say on my mother's life, is when she got lupus. It's chronic fatigue. You get really sensitive to the sun, really sensitive to the heat. Where the lupus settles in your body is where the cells start attacking themselves. In my mom, it's in the joints and the ligaments. So your synovial fluid in your ligaments it attacks itself in her body, and so like if you move your fingers, you don't feel anything because of the synovial fluid in your fingers, your phalanges. Oh, I learned a lot in nursing school, that's for sure. But for her, she can feel that movement, and it's exceptionally painful. Everywhere you have a joint, she can feel that movement of bone against bone, muscle against muscle, and that's extremely painful. Some of her friends, like, it settles in their lungs and they develop COPD. Some of her friends, it settles in their brains and they die. So it's a little alarming because it's such a free-for-all sort of disease with very minimal research put into it, especially for somebody like me who's mixed race and that actually has a big effect on what your medical research says. So basically April's been the month where I've been struggling with my usual fears about, like, oh my gosh, what if I get lupus? What if I can't go outside anymore? What if I can't hike anymore? What if I can't be in the sun anymore? What if I can't move anymore? And that's terrifying. And also big changes in my diet and big changes in my sleep patterns, and just figuring out how not to be sick is kind of a full-time job when you're trying to escape chronic illness. So when I was watching In a Little Dream today, and she was talking about that, and it hit me that I know that sense of isolation, like, you're the only one who understands that, no, you're not lazy, no, you're not trying to avoid working hard. It's that you're constantly struggling against this fear of, if I go too far, am I going to trigger my body into this cascade of badness? And it's constantly this frustration that your mind is way up here and your body is back here. And so this month has really been dedicated to me trying to figure out a way to be at peace with that. And it is very isolating, because you feel like sometimes not even the people closest to you understand the fear and understand the lengths that you're trying to go to not be sick. Like, it's really hard because some people are like, well, you're not sick right now. And it's like, yes, but that's because I'm actively trying not to fall into that sickness. And there's no guarantee these things I do will work. It's just, you can't just let it come at you because it feels like you're drowning. You have to feel like you have some control over it, even if maybe in the long run I don't. So I've been spending April doing that, trying to make sure that I don't get sick by changing my diet. We're on a gluten-free diet now, getting more iron in my body, and because the supplements I'm allergic to, clearly. I'm broken out and red hives everywhere, and they're very itchy, and it's driving me, like, they're on my arm, it's driving me nuts. But my aunt just got me, my aunt is a medical professional, and she just helped me get, like, some anti-itch cream, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to slather that on. So, and then Darling was so cute, because we're trying as hard as we can to live a vegan lifestyle, and that's always been kind of hard for me, because I'm like, what if I'm not getting everything I need to avoid getting sick? And, like, where are my micronutrients? Where are my, like, omega-3 fatty chain acids, long-chain fatty acids coming from? So he was really awesome, and he looked up, and it turns out rice, Chex Mix, the cereal, has 50% of your daily iron in one serving, because it's fortified with that. And so I tried some of it tonight, and I mean, I've eaten Chex Mix before, but, like, the wheat kind, so it was really surreal to eat the rice one and not have, like, that kind of foggy headache that I've always associated with eating. Turns out that's the gluten. Like, it was really surreal to eat a bowl of cereal and not have this fog over my head afterwards. So it's fun when you can figure out what makes you sick and take that out, because you feel so different. It's just really hard to get there. But he was so cute, because, yeah, he figured out that rice Chex Mix has 50% of your daily recommended amount of iron fortified into it. So I can add that, including, like, the beans and the vitamin C fortified foods, or not fortified, but, like, heavy foods like broccoli, oranges, things like that, to absorb the iron better. Nutrition, if you aren't following along, is something that I have honestly devoted a lot of years researching. I always was attracted to it because I was so confused about my own body. I was like, why am I putting on so much weight when I'm eating like everyone else? Why is my family like this? And so nutrition has been something I've always studied in depth to try to understand my own body. And the answers are pretty amazing, because it turns out things are so much more complicated than just eat this, this, and this, and exercise this much in these ways. There's so much more complicated than that. And although that realization didn't bring me the hard answers I wanted, of like, oh, if I just eat this, this, and this, and do this, then I can look like everyone else. Although I haven't gotten there, I have a new appreciation for how unique each and every one of our bodies and our body chemistry and our background happens to be, because I'm a strong believer now in all of that stress and strain from when I was younger actually is why I struggle so much with figuring out where the heck my weight should be and trying to like get it to what is in a healthy range in my opinion, which is different than what some people's opinions might be. Might actually be because of epigenetics, where my cells have rewritten themselves from that strain in my childhood to react this way now, even all these years later. So it makes me really much more conscious and aware, never to judge somebody by the cover of what they look like. Because what you may see as them like eating too many donuts or something is actually reflected on, say, they had a really rough, abusive childhood. I did not. It was poverty struggles that was really hard. And the strain of both my parents being sick and things like that. But your cells, your body's amazing, and it can freak out and rewrite some of your genetic DNA that it then duplicates down through the years to go, you gotta hold on to everything you've got because you don't know when you'll have more. So I've come to appreciate everyone's stories and their bodies and their uniqueness more through my studies of genetics and nutrition. They're passions of mine. And hopefully I will be able to not get sick. But I know that was really rambly and a lot of like medical stuff that you guys probably aren't interested in. But that's where my mind has been all April, is not being sick. And I'm feeling on a really good path again right now. And thankfully my aunt, she's getting married in August. So that's really cool. It's kind of a late in life marriage that she wasn't sure would show up. That's actually why I take care of my cousin so often, is because she had me as her nanny. She got tired of waiting. Her telling the story, she got tired of waiting for a guy to show up. So she wanted to start a family, so she went and adopted 2 girls from overseas. And wow, we love them so much. My family is very tolerant and open about family, and I love it. I helped raise them as their nanny for many years, and now all of a sudden they get a dad. So it's really interesting. She's getting married in August. So I've been very busy a little bit with that, helping watch the kids while she's like doing wedding dress shopping and figuring out all of that fun stuff. But I feel so much more at peace now that I've spent the month just trying to address my big fears, because I love my mom. I love my mom so much, but since I was little, I've watched her be bedbound. And the idea of having my wings clipped like that is terrifying, because I know what it means. And you know, the lupus settles in her eyes a little bit now, so she has severe glaucoma issues that require a lot of surgery and a lot of maintenance, which is where my support to my family goes usually. And she's an artist who's losing her eyesight because of this disease. She's a color artist. So behind all of it, behind my passion for biology and everything, there is a sense of desperation to appreciate the world for what it is, just in case my wings get clipped one day. And I can't go on hikes anymore, and I can't roll around in the grass anymore or find like random piles of moss. But that's why I really wanted to take this month to just slow down and listen to my body and do more research and reading. So I appreciate that you guys have been so patient about that. And again, this is very rambly. A lot of you probably don't care at all about this, and I apologize. It'll be more about like fun updates and walks in the park and things soon. But I'm more than those things, and I'm not afraid to show it, because you do feel like you're all alone when you're trying not to be sick. And like I said, even among your own family, sometimes you feel like you're all alone when you're trying not to be sick. And I don't want, if there's anyone out there who hears this and it resonates with them, I would rather speak up and give this to you so you know you're not alone, because I know how hard that is, than to just be the happy, cheerful plant person. Because I'm more than that. So, thank you for your patience on that, and I will, in this little thing with some cool notes, I was talking with Mara today, and she is so sweet. You guys definitely need to give Mara some love, please. She is so wonderful. Her Sim series is amazing. It's so much fun to see what she's up to in her Sims 2 Build a City Challenge. And then it's so much fun to see what she gets up to in our world, and we're coming up with huge changes for zoo crafting. In a good way, in a totally good way. I'm immensely excited, and we just have to kind of get ourselves there, so it's going to be interesting to see how we transition into Season 2. This is a little bit behind-the-scenes information, because zoo crafting has become a daily lifestyle for me. It really has. It's become the epicenter of such a huge worldwide community, and it's constantly growing. I want to make sure I give it 110% my best, so I really want to come into Season 2 strong with like a simple but good website that's constantly updated, more relevant URL maybe, so a lot of those kinds of things, and yeah, like that's just kind of like where we're moving into. So I was talking with Mara though, and she got me really excited about doing a Sims 2 Build a City Challenge again, because that would be a lot of fun. I forgot I have this huge notepad like file saved with all these ideas for my Sims 2 stuff. Like if you're a criminal sim, there's a chance, depending on the rank you're at and certain skills you have, there's always a chance that you might get caught, and you can get caught and go to jail, and then you have to live in jail, the jail community lot, for a certain amount of days in the rotation, and or you could pay bail, so you could get out if you have enough money. So then, like the politics, Sims vote for who they like based off of where their relationship and where their interests are. So you can also buy votes, and you can buy the mayor position if you have enough money. You can bribe your way in. So I'm really excited to get into Sims 2, but there are the practical logistics of the fact I'm running nearly 10 active series right now. That's a lot. I feel like I can do it as long as I stay very strictly organized and maybe start spacing the days they update out just a little bit more. Now that Zoo Tycoon 2 doesn't crash, that's a miracle! Ben finally figured it out, what was causing my game to crash. We fixed the file, and I can actually record Zoo Tycoon 2 without, like, raging, because it would literally crash every 5 minutes, and I would lose the footage every time, and it would take me 2 to 3 hours to record one 20-minute episode before this, for a year and a half now. And that's why there hasn't been very consistent Zoo Tycoon 2, because I would get so upset I just couldn't handle it anymore. But now that we figured that out, I kind of wanted to start doing dinosaurs, and things like that. I want to do Sims 2, I want to do more with Sims 4. I just have so many stories I want to tell. So many adventures, and that's not even involving, like, going to meet real biologists, going on more hikes, starting Expedition Sundays, where I go out to the local areas and do a nice little expedition video on the main channel as well, and more snippets of life. Like, I saw a yellow finch, a yellow-breasted finch today for the first time, and it was so beautiful. I thought it was a dandelion in the field, so I ran over to it, and the finch was like, ah! And like flew off, and I'm like, oh, that's a yellow finch! And it had the beautiful black wings. That was the first time I've ever seen that bird, so that was very exciting. I want to do more with those snoozy guys over there. They're going to get their lights turned off in just a minute, but I want to do more with them. And on that note, we will end with some plants for the night, and then I'm thinking about starting, like, it's just me being me, but maybe you guys would like to see some of that on the leafy days. Hear about how I organize my days, how I plan. Some people like the companionship. I know I love it for vlogs. I like the sense of companionship, so hi! I'm your friend for the 20 minutes or so we're spending together. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I grew some birdseed. Would you like to see? I put some bird seeds to sprout in the jar, and they sprouted! So check that out. They sprouted into little itty-bitty green sprouts, and my birds think they're gonna die because I put this in their cage, and birds always freak out with something new like that. So they have completely ignored it because they think if they touch this delicious, fresh, sprouted food, this is the exact same seed they eat, it's just sprouted. They think if they touch it, they're gonna die, which is how captive birds usually behave toward any new thing that you introduce in their enclosure. So that's totally normal, but I didn't realize they would freak out so much. So next time I'm going to make much fewer seeds, and I'm going to try to get my hands on some more chia seeds. Maybe I'll sprout my chia seeds. I have a whole container of them now that they sell them for a very good price at Walmart, which is awesome because chia seeds, I love my chia seeds. Like, I might try sprouting chia seeds or maybe broccoli sprouts. I hate alfalfa. Fun fact, people with lupus just hate the taste of alfalfa, and it actually is very bad and triggers things in their body that it shouldn't. So if you have lupus or anyone in your family who experiences lupus, stay away from alfalfa. I hate alfalfa. Well, and I think I'm saying it wrong. It's like alfalfa, you know what I mean. That sprout thing that everyone, like, that's their first, baby's first sprout is alfalfa. And I'm probably saying that horribly wrong. Another one of Seri's coming up with words sort of things. It drives my mom mad. But yeah, so that's just where I've been for April, and it's just been tonight, especially talking to Mara and Ben and Winter and listening to the Time Shot group laugh and just listening to my birds and spending time with Darling. It's just been tonight that I've finally felt calm again. Like I've got a bit of a handle on this. I am going to do my daily runs, which aren't that hard. Darling got me a polar heart rate monitor for Christmas. I asked for one. It's the green one. And I realized when I used it on a run today that I don't have to jog as hard as I thought I did to stay in the appropriate heart rate range. So I managed to stay in my appropriate heart rate range for 30 minutes. And I was like, wow. And that I just stopped because my podcast ran out and I got bored. So I'm going to load more podcasts next time. Maybe go to the Greenway. Try to stay in that range for at least 40 minutes to an hour to more than that every day. And just see what kind of amazing personal, physical, mental, psychological, who knows, all the coals changes that I can bring into my life. And hopefully by taking care of myself, I can have more energy and more organized time, which is a huge key to produce more adventures and more stories and more times where you and I and everybody else can have a little bit of time to be a community together. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Sorry about all the personal medical stuff. I just feel like it's relevant too. Like I said earlier, I don't want anyone else who might be in my situation or Kaylee's situation to feel like they're that isolated. Because it is a lot of consuming emotional and mental work to not be sick when you're trying to stave off chronic illness. So that aside, I'm going to spend some time organizing what episodes I'm going to record in the morning, and hopefully we'll go outside and I will bring you guys along with me on my jog so we can see maybe some more yellow-breasted finches or other really cool things. So thank you guys so much for being there. It means the world to me right now to have this community, to share everything in life with, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the adventures. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day and stay curious.